Hello everybody and welcome back to the shop. Today we have another machine review and tutorial video for you. So this is a little machine that is geared towards kids and beginners. It's called the Brother LX3817A. So if you're in the market for a little sewing machine for a beginner or a child, is this a good option for you? I'm going to go over all the pros and cons about this machine in just a second. But before we get started, please go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. I do a lot of machine videos on tutorials, troubleshooting, reviews, and also alterations, projects, and other stuff like knitting and crochet and all the fun things. So let's get into it. So this little machine, first thing you'll notice is it's very cute. The baby blue color is very attractive. So this is definitely a plus for a kid. This is something that a kid would like. So I already think that that's a plus because it's going to get the kid excited. Another plus is it's very lightweight. It doesn't weigh very much at all. And I think that's a good thing because that makes the kid feel independent. They can carry the machine around, they can set it up, they can bring it to their sewing class. It's a good thing. So actually a lot of the things that I have on the pro list for this machine is also really a con in another way. It just depends on how you look at it. So it's really made for children or beginners, so everything that is a pro for a child isn't going to be a pro for you as an adult if you're already a seasoned sewer. So I'm just going to go over everything and you can decide if this is for you or not. So we have the beautiful color, we have the lightweight, we have a nice deep handle here that makes it easy to carry. But also being lightweight is kind of a con because it kind of shakes the whole table and it's just not that heavy duty. So it just depends on how you look at it there. Another kind of con, which makes it lightweight, is there's a lot of plastic parts on this machine. So the little bobbin winder's plastic, the needle or the thread guides are plastic, half of the needle plate is plastic. Most of it's plastic. Even the presser foot shank is plastic, and that is the biggest issue that I have with this machine. Here's the presser foot shank, and this is the thing that I like least about this machine.
Very clear.
So the shank itself is plastic instead of metal,
it's very easy
and there's
thread,
no
easy to wind
lever
bobbin.
or release button on the back
And
of
I
the
like
shank
that
to remove the
even
presser
if the
foot, so that you could change it up for a
student is at
different
home
presser foot.
without anyone to
get it
show them
off,
what
all
to
you
do
is
if they tried really hard and
pull it
followed
off.
all these numbered diagrams.
So presser feet have a little rod in the center, and
They should be able to
that
get their machine threaded on their own.
lines up with
So
this
I like that. That makes
shape.
it very beginner friendly.
So here it fits into this little shape, and there's nothing that's making it stay on. It just kind of fits in there and goes on. So if I lower this down to the presser foot, it just goes on there. And to take it off, you just pop it off there. So yes, it's easy, but it wasn't that hard before with other ones that have a lever, and I just can't imagine that this will last forever because, I mean, this is just plastic, and however many times you put a presser foot into there, it's eventually going to get worn down and it's eventually going to need replaced. I can't imagine it's very expensive though either. So just another thing to consider. What I do like about it though is it has a drop-in bobbin, which makes it easy to thread. One feature that I like about this machine is this little blade right here. So when you thread the bobbin, you place the bobbin down inside the bobbin case and you bring it around here, and all you do is bring the thread around this little track and let it cut and put your door back on. So it totally eliminates the final step of threading the machine that you would usually have to do on most machines, which is to make your needle go down into the hole on the needle plate to get that bobbin thread to come up. So most machines do that. Some modern machines have the blade instead, and I think that's really nice for kids and beginners to just eliminate that final step because it is the most forgotten step. It's the one step that can't really be shown with one of these nice diagrams, so they forget it. And it's also just kind of confusing to them, like, why are they doing it? So I think it's nice for that to be bypassed. So another thing that would be kind of a negative is it has a very small throat space. and this could be considered a plus because it contributes to the very lightweight and small size. But if you were going to actually be using this into your sewing journey, you would probably want something with a little bigger throat space, especially if you're going to make a quilt. It's going to be tough to fit everything in here. So that's just something to consider. Something that I do like about the machine, kind of, again, it's a pro and a con depending on how you look at it, is the clarity of the dial here. So this here is the stitch selector dial, but it's also the stitch width and the stitch length and the needle position all rolled into one dial. So this is both a pro and a con depending on how you look at it. It's a con because it gives you limited amount of options, but it's a pro because it makes it so it's not overwhelming and confusing. So what we have here is, if we start with the straight stitches here, we have a straight stitch, and then we have a straight stitch with a longer stitch length, longer stitch length, longer stitch length, longer stitch length. That's like a basting stitch. And then we have a straight stitch which is over to the left, so the needle position would be to the left. So instead of giving you all these different dials, like selecting straight stitch on the stitch selector dial and then selecting the length on the length dial and then moving the needle to the left using either the width dial or a stitch selector dial, it's just all right here. And same thing with the zigzags, which vary in length and in width. So you only get 3 choices in your length of your zigzag. You only get 3 choices in your width of your zigzag. And so that's just all the options you have, but at least it's very clear for a child or a beginner to be able to make those selections. So that's something to consider. So just to go over some of the other things on the machine, this is the reverse button. You hold that down and press the pedal and it'll go backwards. This is the tension. Power switch over here. Flywheel. We can remove this to expose the free arm, and this is what we would use to sew if we wanted to put a sleeve or a pant leg over that, so you could go around it and not sew through it. And then there's a little spot here that you could store things in. You couldn't store very much here, it's pretty minimal, but it's something. And that's about it. We have our seam allowance lines here that are marked with fractions of an inch, which is nice. Sometimes they're not marked. And we have our feed dogs. So let's go ahead and go over threading it. First thing we're gonna do is take some thread and place it on the spool pin here. You'll see how you have a telescopic spool pin, so if you want that to go down to fit inside a case or for storage or whatever, you can do that. So bring up your spool pin and put the center hole of your thread on there. It doesn't matter which way it goes. Okay, and then we're gonna come behind this little first thread guide and come under it and bring the tail up over it and come down the first channel. Then we're going to bring the thread around the tension dial here, and I like to hold up here to make sure that it's really going in there. And then we're going to come up the second channel here, and we're going to stay to that side of the silver take-up lever that's in there. I forgot to mention, before you start, you want your needle to be at its highest position and also the take-up lever to be high. So turn the wheel towards you, the flywheel here, to get it to that position if it's not already. So then we're going to come around the take-up lever and back down. And always make sure the thread actually went into the little hole in the take-up lever. I'm not sure if you can see that, but the pink thread is in the little hole. And you can see on the little 4 and how it comes around. So around like that we did the thread. And then it'll come straight back down. This is marked with a 5. And then this, I don't think is really marked, this little silver guide here, but you're going to bring the thread behind that next. So this little silver guide that's above the needle, the thread is going to go behind that. So you can take the thread in both hands like this and just kind of floss it behind that little piece of metal there, like that little thread guide So when you look at it, it should just come straight down, straight behind it, and then we'll put it straight into the eye of the needle. Like that. And that little step there is sometimes a little hard for beginners. Sometimes when they just have a little wire thing that sticks out, that's a little easier to understand, but this is probably nicer and keeps the thread in line better, so it's not a huge deal. But yep, just floss it right behind that. And then we'll just bring this thread through the little slot on the presser foot, like that. That little slot, so then the thread will lay back here. And we do not need to pull the bobbin thread up through there. That's not necessary. It has the little blade. It's ready to go. So very easy to thread. So let's go ahead and sew with it. So here's the back of the machine. You can see the presser foot lever here. So you'll put the fabric under your presser foot and then lower the presser foot down. Okay, so lowering it down. Okay, presser foot's down on the fabric, and I'm just going to hit the pedal. I like that this machine doesn't take off very quickly. You may have seen my video about the Singer Scholastic I did last week, and it just really takes off and it doesn't have speed control. This machine doesn't have a speed control dial, but it's easy to control with the pedal, and that's the difference. Even if you floor it, it doesn't go that fast. Which again is a pro and a con depending on how you look at it. So we'll turn the flywheel towards us so that we can get the needle up out of there. And to take your fabric out, you'll just raise the presser foot, pull it out. And then over here we have a little thread cutter. You can just bring the thread around it and pull. There's a little blade inside there that cuts it for you. So there we go. So there you have it. That's all the basics of this machine. So should you buy it for a kid or a beginner? That's up to you. Take all those things I said into account when making your decision. I hope this helped you. If so, please give it a like and please subscribe to my channel. If you have this machine or have anything to say about it or any questions, go ahead and drop a comment below. Thanks for watching.